Hello? No sound.
Mario, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Okay, so it's you're gonna have, some of the files are good, some of them are bad. So I'll have to make a list of what I was able to get, and some was. I'm still waiting. It's taken hours to populate, hours. So I wouldn't use that
No,
that
I know,
stick
but
again.
in mine, it takes seconds in my computer.
How could that be? How
I
could
don't
that
know.
be?
I don't know.
I mean, I've never had a problem with any of your sticks. Have you ever heard
No.
me? I've never. It always goes very
But
quick.
I've used this one before with you, like 2 or 3 years ago. But
I don't think.
anyhow,
I don't think so.
files are bad in that stick.
Yes. Let me show you what happens. You see the icon, which is the corrupted file. Then with time, they come in. The video icon comes in. So now, like maybe 20% of the Xubos came in. All of the Eruvin came in. All of the. So I'm giving it more time.
Now, what about Surva?
I didn't open. I'm still
Ah,
working on this one thing. You don't get it. This is 5 hours.
no, then don't. I'll take it back and I'll put it in another stick. I
No,
can transfer it. I can transfer it. I have
no.
the others now.
Some have worked without any problem. So let me transfer the ones that work. Then I will send you an email to tell you which ones I need, and then the same thing.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so who else is here?
Harold
I don't see him.
and Walter.
I'm here. I'm here.
Okay, fine. Okay, good. So we are on Ayin Aleph 71 Mishnah. So when you sell a field, tomorrow we will learn at 6:30.
Okay.
Okay, it's a short block. So Lo Tabor, so when you sell a field, just like when you sell a house, you don't sell the bore, which is the water cistern. Velo Tagat, like a wine press, v'lo shoivach, the birdhouse, ben charev and ben yeshuvim, whether they're active or they're not active. So the seller is retaining ownership in these. However, since we learned according to Rabbi Kiva, he sells ba'ayin yofeh, tzarech likach lo derech. He has to, the owner himself, to get access to his own board, he has to buy access from the guy who sold it to Rabbi Kiva. Hello?
Yeah.
The Chachamim oimrim eno tzarech. The Chachamim says, no, the seller retained everything, including the derech. Because he doesn't sell ba'ayin yofeh according to Chachamim. Umoid Rabbi Kiva b'zman she'amar l'chutz me'elu. Even Rabbi Akiva, who normally holds that a seller sells ba'ayin yofeh, if he specifically excludes and says chutz me'elu, then he retained the right of way as well. What if machron la'acher? What if he sold the boar or the gat to a different party and he kept his field? Rabbi Kiva Omer ein tzarich likach lo derech. Rabbi Kiva says that the buyer doesn't have to buy the right of way because he sells ba'ayin yofeh. If I'm selling a guy a boar, I'm going to sell him the derech to the boar. No. Chachamim say a seller is stingy. He sells ba'ayin raw, so he's going to only sell the boar, not the right of way. When is all of this? When it's a sale. Everybody holds that a gift is given ba'ayin yofeh. So everything is given. And when brothers divide a field, the Yerusha, they each get everything. There was property of a ger that he died, the ger died, and a Jew took possession. He doesn't act of chazak in the field. He acquires everything, including the boar and the gas. Now, what's another transaction? Being magdish. A magdish is a sadeh. Higdish is kula. When you give something to base hamikdash, you give it ba'ayin yofeh. Reb Shimon Omer magdish is a sadeh lo higdish elas achar v'murka v'sad nashikla. When you magdish a field, you retain everything else. You give the field and the carob tree and the sycamore tree. So the Gemara wants to know Maishna Mecher u'Maishna Matona. What's the difference between a Mecher and a Matona? Pirish Yehuda ben Nekusel if they Rebbe. Zeh Pirish v'Zeh Pirish. The Mishnah, when you give a gift, you detail everything, and therefore he's caught everything. Break the Gemara. What do you mean? Hi Zeh Pirish v'Zeh Pirish. Zeh Pirish v'Zeh Pirish. In each case, the moicher or the gifter didn't state exclusively what he's retaining. Ella, zeh, the buyer, hayel lefarish, he has to demand specifically what he wants. If he didn't, he loses out. But by a makabel matana, somebody receives a gift. He doesn't say anything, what he wants, what he doesn't want. It's not a recipient is not so chutzpahdik. A person said to a group, give as a gift to Chaim Yankel my house. Shemachzik mea gulfi. In the house is 100 barrels of wine. When they checked it out, ishtakach dahava shemachzik mea ve'esrin chavios. There were 120 barrels. Amar Mar Zutra, so he only gets the area of the house that is retaining the 100 barrels, not the whole thing. Mea Amerle, Mea Esri, no Amerle. He didn't say 120. However, Rav Ashi Yomi Milo Tanan B'mer Dvarim B'moicher. That's by a sale. Avol B'noisin Matana Noisin is Kulam. He said he gives everything. Ama Mandi Yoiv Matana B'ayin Yofa Yoiv. Achanami Mandi Yoiv Matana B'ayin Yofa Yoiv. And therefore, he was happy that there were more barrels than the 100 barrels. Hamagdish is a sadeh. So we said you magdish everything. Amravun Afagav to Amrabonon.
Ernie, where does the Gemara get the principle that basically we learn out that giving a matana is always ba'ayin yafe, so you don't care, you can give more. Maybe you made a mistake when you gave the matana. Maybe you thought you were giving 100, and you gave. What makes the Gemara? What's the logic? In other words,
No,
the
I think
logic that a moicher is ba'ayin ra and a matana is ba'ayin toiv. What's the logic? Well, sometimes
because a person gives a gift, so that's a positive thing. It's all
yeah, but a
yafa.
guy's getting a lot of money. He's selling something. Why wouldn't he give it with a good head and with a good eye?
Because a sale versus a matana is a completely different thing.
Yeah, I understand, but
You give matana to a friend, you give matana to a family member. It has nothing to do with money.
yeah, but if you give a matona, right, and you thought you're giving 100, and now you see it's 120, you then realize what makes the Gemara think is logical to say that that 120 is really what he meant. He doesn't mind the 120.
So there's a house whose square foot was able to hold 100 barrels. He thought it was 100 barrels. It turns out when they measured it, there were 120 there. So then there's a dispute. Does he only get a certain amount of the house and not the whole house? So the guy says no. Since it's a matana, he is happy even though there's more there. I think it's a svora. It's not be pasuk. It's a svora regarding the difference
Okay,
between a
as
matana
far as
and
the chachomim as far from them, but it
yeah.
does. Okay, I hear. Okay. Yeah, the guy could think.
I'm just looking at some of the Rishonim here, whether they say anything, because I think
Like if you give a guy a present, a car or something, right? And no, he had an old car. You give him a present, a car, and then the guy gets in the car. There's a piece of jewelry there. So the Chachamim would logically say, "Oh, the guy didn't know that this. He gave it behind your It belongs to the guy who gave the car to."
no, I'm not so sure they would say that because maybe he didn't know the diamond was in there.
The
That
guy
you can
didn't know there are 20 extra barrels or here. He didn't know.
yeah, but whether it's 100 or 120 barrels, so that you can say he's
Well, the wine is worth a lot of money at that time. So the
no,
wine
I
is
understand, but a car and a piece of jewelry in the car, so that's completely two different things.
okay. I'll give a different thing. So I don't know. Two of the same things. In other words, he gave the guy a case of whiskey.
No, I mean, there were
And,
two
and
cases.
there were
So
two cases.
there, the Gemara would say, like they said here, that he gives it by Yofa.
Okay. Yeah, but it's a svara. I'm not sure if everybody thinks that way today. Just not sure.
Hamagdish is asadeh. So then you give everything. You don't retain any of the items in the field. Amravuna afagav damar rabbanon. Hakoyne shnei ilonos betoch shel chaver. If I buy 2 trees from Walter's backyard, hareza lokona karka. I only get the fruit from the trees. I don't buy any land in between the trees. We're going to see if you buy 3 trees, you do get the land. But 2 trees, no. Now, but in mochar karka, I sell my field to my neighbor, but I have two favorite trees that I want to keep. The din is yesh lo karka. Here, he retains the ownership of the land in between the trees. V'afilu Rabbi Kiva shomer moicher b'ayin yofa moicher. Now, according to the way Rabbi Kiva says that a moicher sells b'ayin yofa, so technically he would have he wouldn't mishire anything for himself. He would not retain the land there. Hanimili gabi bor v'dus. A water cistern, they are external to a field. And the local ba'aro, they don't weaken the land. So the buyer doesn't care that the original owner retained ownership of that. But trees that are going to weaken the guy who bought the land from the owner is going to claim these trees and the land in between them are going to weaken my land, right? In Isa de Loshire, because if you're going to say that the seller did not retain it for himself, lay, the buyer will say, okay, no, go take your trees and pull them out of there because they're nourishing from my land. So therefore, the seller retains some of that land, so there's no problem that he's going to be told to get rid of his trees. And I'll give you a proof. It's not. Rav Shimon Omer Magdish es Asodeh, Lo Hikdish El Acharva Murka V'Sada Shekma. Besides the field, the other thing he gave to the Beis Hamikdash was the carob and the sycamore, but nothing else. Not the boar, not the dus, not the gas, not the shoivach, nothing else. The Tani Allah, on that baraisa, Rav Shimon, Matam, why is it that he's only being magdish these two things? I thought the Tanakhama says when you're magdish everything behind Yofen. No. Hol v'yanukin misod egdish. Here also, these draw a lot of nourishment from the ground. And if he would not be magdish these trees, his trees were going to be pulling in nourishment from what belongs to Hegdish. So therefore, you have to give them the trees as well. Like Ravuna, that when you retain ownership of trees, Shiuri Shire, he also keeps the land in between automatically. So what would be the Svar of Rav Shimon? Kiko Yanki Minadavshiki Yanki. If whenever you retain these trees, you retain the land in between them, then this Svar that we said that the Beis Hamikdash, they're going to be upset because the trees are pulling nourishment from their land. It's his land. So must be the proof is that he doesn't retain ownership of the land in between the trees. So Reb Shimon, Reb Shimon the Amak Rabbi Kiva, rather Reb Shimon says that just like a moicher sells b'ayin yafeh and doesn't retain anything for himself beyond what he detailed, so he doesn't retain karka for those trees. It's the same thing for a magdish. So he's magdish the trees, so that so that it doesn't belong to him. So they won't have any complaints against him that his trees are being yoinek or are nourishing from the land of Hegdish. Vravuna Amar Rabbanon, that they sell by and raw. When he retains something, he retains even the land in between the trees. So Kirabanon, so Pshita. So that would be what kind of chiddush is that? There is a chiddush. Nafkamina the inafli hadashasaluhu, that if the trees fall down or die, he can go and plant new trees. And we don't say svara that he's retaining land for the trees only, but rather the land belongs to him and he can do whatever he wants there. And if the trees fall down, he can replant them. Okay, so tomorrow We will learn, God willing, at